It is 6:30 and I'm bringing this meeting to order. First thing we're going to do is go over, I received some comments from, one from Chuck Witt and 6 from Jack Bailey. The first one had to do with public, for the fire department. And his question was if there is a fire district set up if the village is dissolved. They want to know if there's a tax limit that the fire district can is imposed upon them. Now, I got the information. Connie downloaded information about fire districts, and it's been sent to all of you. So I sent it today, late.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you didn't have it. Basically, when you say I'm sure John knows this already. He's on that committee, right? John, are you on?
Public safety?
Public safety?
No, that's me and Brian and Jim.
All right. Well, a fire district has its own commissioners and its own budget and its own taxing authority that would be under a separate line item under the town taxes. So, and they have also ability to take on debt and whatever. So, but I sent that information to you so that you can put that in your report when you get done.
Okay.
All right. Then I'll just go over what the comments were. One comment was, what water does the Department of Public Works use to flush or clean the village streets? Water from the hydrants or from the non-potable wells at the former water plant? Question mark. If they use the hydrants, that is costing the water sewer fund money and residents money on their water bills. The non-potable water is free and is available and not processed. So I guess that would go to you. Please share what the possible options are for fire protection under New York State law once the village is dissolved. That's pretty straightforward. There's a fire district.
There's two.
All right.
A fire district and a fire protection district.
All right. But they're fire districts.
Yes.
So the town can't have a fire district or can't have a fire department. Okay.
What was the difference between the fire protection and
The fire protection district, it's my understanding, is the town board would still have oversight of the fire
Right.
department. We would have to approve all the firefighters. We would have to be responsible for all the liability, the turnout gear, the training of the firemen, and a fire district, it would go to the 5 commissioners.
Yeah, that's what, yeah.
So actually, in the first instance, the town would have would be in control of the fire department, and they would have you would control their budget?
I think we would have say in their budget.
All right.
I'm not sure about that, though.
All right. So that's what we have to delineate. Okay. In Wayne County, how many towns have a full-time, part-time, or no police department? That'll be brought up in our discussions when we get to the fire, the budget.
I can answer that right now. The town of Aspen is the only town police department in Wayne County.
Doesn't the village of Clyde have a police?
Town.
Oh, town. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I was.
And on that note, sir, just so for your information, I've done some research, and here is the town laws that pertains to town police departments. For your information.
All right. All right. Very good. All right. I guess I was just confused. I thought, how many police departments are there in the county? So I misinterpreted that question. And then number 4, what village property can possibly be sold and put back on the rolls in a finalized dissolution? That is something we're going to be discussing. Basically, the village turns all their property over to the town if they're dissolved. and then it's up to the town to decide what property they want to keep and which they want to try to sell. So we can make recommendations, but it falls back to the town. The town government will make those decisions. Okay, I would like a copy of the law cited by MRB representative at Thursday night's public hearing that states that the dissolution committee must submit alternative plan in the event of a no dissolution vote. Okay, I got this clarified. The law in 2010 stated that villages could revote and decide if they wanted to keep the village after a dissolution vote had been made. Prior to that, when Seneca Falls was dissolved, there was no question the village was being dissolved. With the new law that was passed, when the village was discussing this with the Department of State, the Department of State put in in the bid process that was necessary to also come up with an alternative to dissolution. That was in the bid and when we picked our consultants. And I received an email today regarding MRB, and that's a battle that's already been decided. MRB is our consultant. We don't have any other consultants. We're not hiring any other consultants. MRB, the village board, hired them. They're our consultants. So I know that there's some people that aren't happy about it, but that's nothing that the committee had anything to do with, and that's who we're using to put the plan together.
Sir, I got a question.
Yes.
Back to the alternative plan.
Yes.
So that's not in the law, the state law, is it?
No, it's in the specifications from the Department of State when they gave us the grant to hire a consultant. The wording in the grant process was that we had to come up with an alternative in case, the voters decided at a future date not to dissolve the village, where we could still come up with ideas on how to save money and make the system more economical.
Can we get a copy of that?
Well, I'm sure the village, you have the grant.
You guys?
I thought we were just supposed
It
to
might be
do
in the contract.
It's in the contract, from what I understand.
dissolution.
It's in the contract. The dissolution is the first thing.
Okay.
But in 2010, when they changed the law, 45 days after the village accepts our plan for dissolution, people have the right to get 25% of the registered voters' signatures on another petition to put it up for vote again to determine if the village will actually stay dissolved or if the village won't be dissolved. So we have to present a plan to the village that says, if you're dissolved, this is the way we think you should go. If you're not dissolved, if the voters come out and say, we decided we don't want to dissolve the village.
That's where I'm confused right there.
All right.
If we decide that there's enough saving here to dissolve the village, it's done, right?
No. There's 45 days after we present the plan to the village that people can go out and get petitions to have the resolution put back on the ballot.
I can see, maybe I can see that if there, I think this is going to boil down to, is it only going to save 10,000? Is it going to save 300,000? Is it going to,
Right.
Then I could see where they might want to consider voting on it, but I mean,
Well, because the law says
Okay.
they can vote,
well, we ought to get a copy of that, I guess.
Right.
I don't-
but because the village says that the state laws changed and said that there can be a revote, we have to come up with a plan too. Now, what MRB is going to do is when we're doing it from the bottom up. We're finding what each department does, how many people there are, if there's any redundancies. And what MRB is doing, they're going through the town budget and the village budget. They're finding out how much everything actually costs. If you look at just the police department and you look at the police department budget, they'll have payroll, but it might not show the cost of retirement.
Oh, yeah.
It might not show the cost of health. So what they're going to do is say, okay, if you want the police department to stay, this is what the actual cost is, and this is what the tax, how it will affect the tax rate.
We already have that. I do anyway.
Well,
We did that at our first meeting.
Yeah.
yeah, but that's what they're also doing.
Right.
So then when we're discussing what direction, what our final plan is, we will know exactly how much things are going to cost. And if we're going to make cuts, we're going to know how much savings we can make if we do away with the police department, or if we just make it a daytime police department or a nighttime police department, whatever.
Sir, it might take a few years to actually start saving some money, though. I mean,
Well-
it's not going to start off the first year we get, you know.
Right. But that's what we're going to project, what we think is going to happen.
You know, I think what we also should ask MRB to do is give us the specifics when Seneca Falls, you know, they must have zeroed in on certain specifics, you know, whether it's the retirement, the hospitalization, you know, what you're spending on equipment. They must have zeroed in on different things to make it. I mean, we've got all this information. I mean, I have a few things that I would like to pick out, but if they could give us some direction.
Okay, we'll get to that
Yeah, okay.
later.
All right. I'm sorry.
All right. Okay, finally, the 2010 Center for Government Research Study, which we all have.
Yep.
It's recommended by Jack that we read it. If you don't read the whole thing, at least read the part that is complies with what your subcommittee is doing. There's one for courts, there's code enforcement, whatever. So I can't disagree with that. They went through a lot of time and effort to put this together. I've been reading it. There's a lot of useful information. This was in last week's,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
I have that. Okay. Okay.
This is the one I read there.
Now, as far as the committees go, committee reports, I would like to have everybody's final statements done by next Wednesday. We're not going to meet next Thursday. If you want to put it off until the following Friday, we need to get all the information that we're working on in a legible form. If you're not typing it up, we need to get it to the village clerk by next Friday. I'll pick it up from there, I'll put it together, and then I'll meet with MRB, either Diane or Connie, and any subcommittee members that want to, if you have questions about how we're going to put this together, we can all meet together.
So what you want all the informational data, right?
Right.
Number one?
Right, you have the forms that you're
Yes,
getting.
yes.
Okay, so as far as personnel and all that other stuff?
Yeah,
that-
we have all that.
Okay,
Now,
put it on the form the best you can,
Yep, okay.
legibly, so that everybody can read it.
So we have to put it on that form?
Yes, would be, yes. The best possible, if you want to type up a little information sheet like you gave me before, that's fine. But everything,
I mean, a lot of them couldn't get it all in that little box, so
Right.
they like Jake,
right.
you see.
Yeah, I saw, I have it. Have it at home.
Okay.
So, public safety, do you have you just gave me information.
I've been working on the worksheet. You know,
Okay.
we've met with some of our entities, and I've been working on the worksheet, and I think it will be ready to deliver
Okay.
next week.
All right. If you could just let me know when you're complete and when you've given it to Denise, I'd appreciate it. And administrative and finance, Thea, Corinne, and
Here's a
Corinne,
copy for Sergey.
Corinne typed, he wants the report that we did yesterday. Do you want to go through this?
Yeah, we met with the office at the town clerk's office yesterday. The town clerk and the bookkeeper, and there's I guess her title is clerk in the office, and we reviewed and attached to that copy, Sergey, are the job duties of each of the three people. I can read you the report. The persons interviewed at the Town of Lyons Town Clerk's office were Town Clerk Saul Kolotarski, Diane Kitchen, the bookkeeper, and Mary Jo Smukowski, clerk typist. The positions are full-time. The office is open Monday through Friday, 9 to 4:30, and on Wednesday, 9 to 4. In addition, there are two persons in the assessor's office who work part-time. The appointed assessor and the clerk, and as Ryan says, they're under the jurisdiction of the state of New York. I've attached copies of each person's job descriptions. Town clerk is responsible for birth and death records, marriage records, dog licensing, burial records in the cemeteries, tax collection January through March annually, and he is the clerk to the town board and maintains all town records and all other duties related to the town clerk position. He is elected with a 4-year term. Bookkeeper maintains town financial records and reports as required by the state of New York and the town board. All functions required to perform payroll duties of the highway department. She also maintains, and she is confidential clerk to the town supervisor. And there is a description attached. The clerk typist prepares all ambulance billing, receives payments, and maintains delinquent account records. She performs payroll for the general fund, and also a job description is attached. The administrative services are provided to all the town of Lyons residents and owners of property within the township, as well as providing records to persons born who have passed away or were married within the village of Lyons. These services are all critical to the public. Shared services are dog control and licensing, fire department district, the assessment of all properties in Lyons, the code enforcement officer is a town employee, and all of the related expenses to that. As far as in the office, the standard equipment, but the town uses Williamson Law Book software for budget and financial bookkeeping and reports. And so there are copies of everybody's job description attached.
Very, very good. Okay. Anything on water and sewer? John?
We have a sewer report. Last Friday, the mayor and I sat down with Mark Chadwick for an hour or so and talked about his job duties and descriptions and what was entailed in his workday throughout the week with him and David DeWolf. Do you want me to read all of it, or?
No, just give us an overview.
Overview is there's multiple meters for influent and outfluent flow of the sewage that is checked on a daily basis. There's pumps that they check on a daily basis. Plant runs 24/7 year round. It never shuts down. So if they're not there, it's being monitored through computers if possible, because they do stop in on the weekends. Pump stations are checked roughly every other day out throughout the village. One to two guys, depending. There's 11 pump stations monitored daily through radio systems and operations through computers that they monitor. So if there's any alerts that comes in through that. Testing, they test everything: chemicals, pH, temperature, high metal contents. They check everything, and it's pretty much all their testing, all their documentation, all their records are all done per the Board of Health, Department of Health.
Right.
It has to be done.
They're mandated.
It's mandated. They're not going to change any of that. Both workers are certified in at least one certification. The foreman has two, and he would like a third one, which would be for a collection course, which would be on the other end of what they're doing. There is a proposal at the village board right now for the water department generator to be transferred over to the sewer plant. They have one bid right now, but I would recommend that they go out for multiple bids on that and see if they can get a better price. There's scheduled PMs that they have down in the plant that they do as needed. Paperwork, reports, testing is all logged in. Flow readings, etc., are all mandated by the state. They do try to check manhole checks when able to, which is most of the stuff I've said already is all critical. It needs to be done. It's pretty much mandated. The PM work and stuff is still critical, but not mandated. They should do maybe a little more infrastructure report of some kind of scheduling, and with two people, maybe they're limited, maybe they're not. Maybe in the future, if it does consolidate or not, or dissolve or not, maybe there should be some other cross training.
Now this is strictly sewer.
Just sewer.
Right.
But there is manhole covers all over. It flows. Not all of it's flowing through pipes. It's channeled.
When they have a sewer problem and need the backhoe, though,
All the
village comes,
DPW
right? Yeah.
helps. Correct.
Okay.
But if other people may be trained in that stuff,
yeah.
the mayor and I talked that possibly that would free up some other PMs that should be done on a more regular basis. The sewer plant basically produces a sludge. If people aren't aware, it's not comes in and goes out. It produces a solid. So they strip out the grit. They strip out all the water through an osmosis slow tanks of upstairs up on the top of the hill. The water is pretty much drinkable when it comes out of the two big tanks. It goes into the canal, and the sludge goes into a holding tank. And according to Mark, every Tuesday, it takes about 5 to 7 hours. The sludge is being produced, and on Wednesdays it is taken out. And that cost is probably right around $5,300 a month, the sludge. And I did write in, because the mayor and I talked about that maybe we should look into local contractors that might have that license to haul that stuff. It might be a cheaper route down the road to cut a little cost.
Does that go to process to Newark? Or?
Verdi does it
Verdi.
at the present time, and then they send it to Canandaigua. They also have an influent stream that catches all the debris. Might be, I won't get into everything that goes through there. I'm not talking sewage, everything but the sewage. And that has to be hand taken out every couple of days depending on the weather.
Yeah.
And that goes into buckets and barrels, and then they take that to Newark on a regular basis. There is a big concern that everybody should be aware of. The weather is a big factor in the sewer plant. because of our infrastructure. Infrastructure is so demanding in spots of repair, there's a lot of extra water that flows through that. You'd be amazed at the water flow that goes through there. And that's all cost, because it all has to be processed. So, in the future,
The water, because of leaks or?
Yep. Yep, whatever
At the sewer
runoff,
plant.
whatever it is.
A storm sewer.
The storm sewers are all,
Leach into.
some of the stuff leaches into the sewer system, and the water might double on a fast
Heavy
spring
rain, okay.
melting or heavy rainstorms or whatever. It's very labor intensive to the system of the sewer plant. And I know that for a fact. When I was in office as mayor, I watched it, and it would flow down through the trough at a normal rate, and then you go down there in a rainstorm, and there'd be 3 foot of water in that one building, because it couldn't keep up with it. So there is some things that do need to be changed in the future.
So all the storm sewers go into the?
No, but there's
But some leach into
some leach into it, and with the overflow and the runoff through the manholes and stuff, it's labor intensive.
Probably to get the street flooded out, because
Yeah.
whatever the manhole cover, it's gonna run right in.
Yeah, they
it's
do, and we have one that's over by the cemeteries in Catherine Street that actually we've just had it looked at to see what we can do to divert it from going into the sewer, into back somewhere along the cemetery. And,
What was the upgrade about 4 or 5 years ago? Was it to the water plant or the sewage
plant.
treatment
Sewer
plant?
plant.
We did energy efficient. We put in the sun,
Oh, the solar?
solar, and lighting, and we have saved probably over a third of our energy costs by doing that work. We even have grass on our roof.
There's also lift stations throughout the village that need to be repaired. I know about 8 or 9 years ago, we did the one that was over here by the Pizza Hut. And they corrode very fast, and I know that personally, I've witnessed it. Over the years, they corrode very fast because sewage is very corrosive. And some of them have slowed down on their being corroded and being dilapidated because of the sewer line and the pump station that the county put in. It's helped a lot the way the stuff is processed further out, and it's not coming into that certain stage of sewage, which is helping the life expectancy of 1 or 2 of our pump stations, or lift stations.
So is there a regular budget set aside for maintenance every year?
They maintain the pumps and try to keep the electrical up to date. But it's been 40 years since, like, Layton Street and Leach Road and some of them out in Dunn Road. We have an estimate for doing Leach Road this year, one of 11, 59,000, and we have budgeted for it. But it's a slow process, and we're coming to the point where work needs to be done on each of those pump stations because they're 40 years old. And those guys do a terrific job of maintenance, keeping the pumps working and keeping things, making sure the electrical is updated. So they really do a great job.
When the power goes out, they have multiple generators. They go out to the certain pump stations that are necessary that don't have the sufficient enough holding capacity, and they have to be pumped. So there's a lot going on which needs to be addressed, but still they keep pretty active in what they're doing at this time.
So they're not overstaffed?
They're not
Understaffed.
overstaffed. They're understaffed. You could cross-train somebody and get somebody to help do the PMs and do some other stuff.
Do the operators, the 2 that are actually at the facility, do they ever go out and look at a pump station or?
Yes.
Yeah, they do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
They maintain
periodically
them.
they go out and try to maintain them, or if there's a problem. And if there is a problem, it's radioed back to the station, so they know if there's a problem, a quick problem. One good thing is that we came across, well, not I came across, was that the debt to service should be lowering down here pretty soon, because they have a debt to the Route 31 project and the Cole Road project, and the wastewater project was the major one with the new building and everything. roughly between 2016 and 2017, those debts will be gone. So that's going to free up a lot more money to be set aside for the infrastructure and the repairs that, you know, we might be a little delinquent in doing. So that's a good thing, I think.
In the tune of how much money do you know?
Without looking at the budget, I'm not sure.
Well, that's
It's quite a bit.
over 100,000
Yeah.
just for the wastewater treatment plant. But every 15, 20 years, they come in and you have to make large repairs to the system. So we finally are out of deficit in our sewer fund. So we've been able to, like in this particular year, set aside some money for reserve fund. Although this year we do have that 59,000 we're going to have to do for Leach Road. So now we can start putting money back into the system.
In the near future, should be
with the
getting better
deficit
with
gone,
not
yeah.
having the debt and saving money for these projects.
John, does all the sewer system out in 31, does it feed all that county business to the jail and?
All that jail
all
and
that?
everything goes across the road to that new building they put in,
Okay.
the one that Nicoletta's
Yep.
built.
Then it gets pumped down
And then
to
it's
us?
pumped down through all the different pump stations all the way down through. And it comes into the station, lift station across from you.
Right.
And then it comes down to the one over here by the,
Now, do they buy water off us too or no?
No,
So what do we do, discharge them for sewer?
no, they buy it from the water authority.
Water comes from the water authority.
So they don't pay no sewer then?
They pay
Yeah,
sewer.
but they pay sewer because the sewer comes to here,
Right,
to
okay.
Lyons.
How do you come up with that number?
The water authority gives us the
Water usage.
the usage,
For all.
and it's
Okay.
based on
Right.
that.
There
So
was
that's a revenue
there
there.
was a low-income grant that Jim Fabino got. Then it basically went all the way out 31 to the sheriff in the county
Right.
house.
That's
That
going to
was
be quite a
probably
big
10 years
complex
ago.
up there. It's a
Yeah.
lot.
Before they put that pump station out there that renovated all, put the proper stuff in, they were actually doing permits with the high metal content and stuff like you do for industry.
Yeah.
Parker Hanford had one. They also had one up at the county complex because of what was going into it. They exceeded the limits of,
And they still do once
they
in a
still do,
while.
but with this new system, it's slowed down the headaches a lot.
Okay. Now, the water, okay,
There's other things on here, but that just touch base on some of the stuff.
that's a good overview. Now, the water department, we buy all our water
All the water is being bought through the
county?
the county.
Okay.
Well, it's not the county, it's just named the county. It's the
Oh, it
Wayne
was
County
the
Water
right,
Authority, but it's
it's
not
county
the Wayne
authority,
County,
right,
it's a
right.
private company.
It's the county, yeah, right. So-
People don't know that.
So does the water come through Arcadia then?
Yep.
I mean, through North?
Yes.
So they're buying it from the village of North?
Canandaigua.
All the water through this end of the county, all the water authority water that's bought and sold, that's coming from Canandaigua. If you get up on the north side, it comes through the
Yeah.
town of Ontario, and when you get on the northwest end, it comes through Monroe County Water Authorities. There's 3 entities right now, I think. That
Okay.
And that master meter's right up on 31, right?
Our master meter is the one up by the old Wrench and Ranch.
Ranch, okay.
That little igloo place. That's the main meter that monitors all the water that comes into our facility.
So we buy it from the Wayne County Water Authority,
Yep.
but I know they buy it from the village of North. It's shipped this way. They buy it from many places.
It's probably because of the line, right?
The line in Wayne County Water Authority doesn't actually own any water stations. They just buy it from
They buy it from 3 different individuals, I think. And there's different rates throughout the whole county.
And ours is the best. Ours is the best rate.
That we're buying it for.
Yeah.
We buy it for one of the best rates.
Yeah.
About 234 or
214.
214.
214 per 1,000
Now,
gallons.
how,
pretty good number.
I heard 211. Marty told me, that was 6 months ago.
214.
214.
okay, so,
214.
is anything left at the water department?
It's kept up.
It's
We have
decommissioned
to-
right now, but you have to hold on to it for
5 years.
5 years.
Okay.
We have to, before we can fill in the pipes and.
Right.
uh,
And the question that you brought up earlier, that Mr. Bailey asked about where do we get our water for our streets. I know when, and I'm not dwelling on when I was in office, but when I was in office, I sort of requested and asked them to take, there's a well on the back side of the water plant that is not filtered. It was a decommissioned well, and that's where most of the water came. That was just free water that you use the electric, and that's what they cleaned all the streets for. Do they do that now? I'm not sure,
think
but it was
so.
highly recommended because if you don't charge back every department for their water usage, it's all free. The fire department, if they're washing trucks or doing, they should have.
They're
it was,
metered.
It was metered, and they get billed, and it's out of their
They're
budget.
metered.
And the same goes for the sewer. Same goes for the water. They all should
This
have their own
place is
budget.
metered.
That's one way to get the true cost.
That's where you get the true cost, because there's a lot of hidden costs that you can't see.
Right.
So if that well is still open,
It
it
may be
behooves the
capped.
village to start using that well. It's not hooked up to it was never hooked up to the water system per se.
Yeah.
It was decommissioned 20 years ago. And so what if it has minerals in it? Big deal. It's well water.
Right.
Wash the streets
Washing.
down with it, and it's free. It's all you do is pay for the electric pump.
Okay.
Seems like a no-brainer to me.
Well, that's good information. Okay, thank you. Okay, Public Works, Highway and Parks. Have you,
Yeah, we,
been doing a lot of stuff last?
yeah, Mike and Jake, and we'll probably have to condense this.
I changed everything you asked.
It's the town, this is the villages. Mike gave us all the inventory. Actually, Jimmy did a lot of the legwork
I
this
think we
week.
went over the recommendations that
Right.
Jake had
Yeah,
last week.
yeah.
We got, I think, there's a list in there from everything from Mike to on the line of equipment.
Yep.
Some tools, what's shared
Yep.
between the,
It's all the equipment and the year, make, models.
yep.
And I think, I mean, when I started to look at it, it depends what MRB suggests, but if you go down the functions, the function page, and just take the function here in the village and take the function in the town and just try to compare them, most everything is
Duplicate?
critical.
Oh, okay.
You know, you have the critical and the important stuff, but I think that's what we're going to have to do. At least that's my suggestion. And see what MRB says. You go through all the descriptions, snow, plowing snow. I mean, everybody's got a critical.
Yeah, we talked about that last week, plowing
Right,
snow,
yeah.
the town would be a big factor in
Yeah.
taking care of the.
Yeah.
Now, as far as trying to figure out the value of their inventory, of their equipment, is there a way, I know Jake said he didn't want to try to do that because it's so
Well,
complicated.
Jake basically buys his equipment, am I right, Brian? I mean, he's in charge and he knows what it costs because he's actually buying it?
Well, it still goes to the board.
Okay. But he pretty much knows the cost of the equipment.
Yeah, but if you bought a piece of equipment 5 years ago to know
Well, you gotta
what it's
depreciate
worth
it,
today,
right.
then that's where the hard part is.
Not really. You can get, well, when the county used to take things to the auction, the auctioneer would come down and say, look, we estimate, you know, under the condition, they look at the equipment, and they would say, we will give you, we'll guarantee you get $25,000 for this. If you get 28, it usually was always over. So I think you could probably hire them or
I would
pay
think
them
so. I would
something
think so.
and have them come down.
I mean,
and
today
they-
you can go on eBay and find out what something's worth,
Oh,
how much
sure,
right to the T.
sure.
I mean, you know.
I mean, it's the condition,
miles.
you know, it's the condition. The village, although, you know, the equipment is, you know, Mike has done a pretty decent job of keeping the stuff going, but it's old.
Well, yeah, he's kept
It's very old.
he's
And,
kept it going pretty good.
you know, that's what's gonna, when somebody comes down and appraise it, it might look brand new, but, you know, when you're talking a 1986 chipper and 1988 auto car dump truck, that's 88. That's an old car.
Yeah.
And look at the water truck, I mean.
And
that's an old-
1967s, you got a lot of stuff, 61.
and everything's pretty much,
Right.
And actually, auction price is really pretty good because if you gotta liquidate in a hurry,
Yeah.
I do that with my farm machine. I figure auction price
Right.
is a number to give to my insurance people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we discussed that the other day, that the village and the town should use the same person to come up with values. So there isn't a discrepancy, because if the village gets one person, town gets another, when it comes time to settle off at the end, we don't want any, discrepancies. So if you use the same person and you agree to go by what they're saying, that makes life a lot easier.
I like Jim's idea because tight's worth or teeth's worth. however
Yeah,
you
he's
say it.
good.
I almost think they'd come out and do it for nothing because we move a lot of equipment through his auction. And
He does Palmyra, well, he does all the county auctions, Onondaga, Wayne,
It might be worthwhile giving them a call. You have a contact with them?
Yep.
tight's worth or
Cindy.
teeth's worth auction.
Cindy Wolcott.
Well, why don't you ask them what, because we're gonna have to have that information
down the road.
prior to our final study. And,
That would be good numbers for us too, even
Sure.
if we didn't dissolve,
Right.
for our insurance, because there's no
Right.
sense of over-insurance
Yeah.
and stuff.
Okay.
Want me to do that?
Yeah, would you please?
Growth, that's it. He's out.
Let's see what- Okay, yep.
Now, the parks, you have a list of all the parks, right? That the village owns?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can, is
Yeah.
Parks under DPW?
Yeah, the parks is under this too.
Okay, yeah, I
So-
can get you a list.
Okay.
It would be good, and what it probably does, the parks probably don't have a separate budget, because it's all,
Yes, they-
oh, they do? Okay, then that would be important too.
Yeah. It's in the,
Okay.
I wasn't sure if it was all under Department of Public Works, if you
no,
have lawn
we
mowers.
budget for, we have a laborer who does most of the grass cutting and works with,
Okay,
like on the canal bank, cuts the grass along 31 in the parks and
and
stuff.
if you could get that to the committee, I'd appreciate that.
Sure.
Okay, as far as courts go, we've got pretty much
Right.
everything taken care of with that. And zoning and codes, there's,
Well, we actually met today. I'll give you that copy, and if you pass one across the chief, well, I actually got one for everybody on the board, but we were all set, except that now if I have to do those forms, and
Thank you.
did you read the report from the, in here about the code enforcement? It might be worthwhile just to take a look at it. You know, I don't think it might not change any of your recommendations or how you fill out the reports, but it's there. It might be worthwhile just taking a look at.
well, we're still at the same position we were to begin with, because code enforcement is a shared service
Right.
right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we do have dissolvement, then we're recommending a full-time employee in there. And I do have backup writings, but
Okay, very good. Okay, is there anything any of the other committee members like to bring to the board?
In the budget, it's A 7140.2 and 7140.4 for parks.
Oh, okay.
For what?
So in this final paper, you want us to finish up here, what actually are we gonna put in there that you really want? I mean, I'm a little confused at that point there. I don't know, maybe Jim tries, maybe, if Jim understands it, he can explain it to me, but.
Well,
They're looking at the number of personnel,
Okay.
they're looking at the work performed,
Okay, that was last
how much is
year,
essential.
when we had full-time, we had.
There really isn't,
I mean,
I think
what we
everything's
gave
done.
But
you,
then we got rid of them.
in other words, we'll go over it, and if we have any questions this week, we'll go see Jake and fine tune it. And Mike, yeah.
Okay.
You guys have a little more of a difficult situation because like you might have 10 shovels in this barn, 10
Absolutely.
shovels in that barn.
Yeah, you ain't kidding there. Right.
A lot of our other committees are looking at a single entity
So we don't
that
pay for
is going to either distribute or not.
retirement.
You want it typed up? I mean, I can stand written.
As long as it's legible.
I can get it typed up.
Lots,
That's not,
whatever.
my wife types
Here
it.
in the
Oh, really?
Yeah.
As long as it's legible. As long as
We can
Keep
get
track
it,
of her hours.
we can get it on paper, so,
It's the usual rate.
no, I'll be the one that has to pay.
Yeah.
Okay, if there's nothing else to be brought before the board, please just get the final reports completed by the end of next week so we can get them to MRB.
So you want them by Wednesday?
Well,
No
Wednesday.
meeting next week.
There's no meeting next Thursday?
there's no meeting next Thursday because there's,
And I
We were
cancel
not-
my trip to Florida?
you can go,
No, I'm kidding.
hop on a plane or drive down.
All right.
So we won't be meeting until 2 weeks. Plus, next Thursday, this room is not available because the fire department has their annual meeting. So MRB consultants aren't available. They're meeting with another municipality regarding the same thing. So instead of us coming together for an hour, we might as well skip it and just be prepared for the next
So the
meeting.
next meeting's gonna be in April, right? April. Who's got a,
Well, it would be April 11th. April 11th?
Yeah, Monday's the 8th.
The day working.
Now, our next meeting after that, then, are we all gonna go over those final papers? We're gonna discuss everything?
That's what we're gonna, hopefully on April 11th,
Okay.
MRB would have looked at everything.
okay.
And be able to start the process of asking us
Yeah.
what our
Take it with you on
recommendations
your
are
trip.
toward a final plan. So,
Knock yourself.
Wait a minute, I think they should be telling us what to kind of zero in on, right? Or no?
that's part of the discussion.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna go into executive session for 10 minutes.